Hello everyone and welcome back to another brand new video. I do apologize that I wasn't able to have a review out last week, but I've been so busy the past few weeks. I'm even still busy this week, but I was not going to let you guys go 2 weeks in a row without any review. So we will be doing a double review today, and I'm honestly glad that I waited to do a double review for this because last week's episode, while it was pretty good, ultimately not that much happened, so I really didn't even feel like it could stand as a review on its own. So I'm happy to have 2 episodes to talk about today. So let's go over last week's episode first, and then we'll talk about today's. So last week's episode focused on Liko and Roy going through this valley because Dot told them that there were apparently more Pokemon that were being harmed by the Laquium, and they end up getting lost in this rocky, cavernous, mountainous area, and eventually Alto, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this guy's name. I thought it was Alt, but apparently it's Alto. Either way, Roy's rival with the green hair, he also is around, and he's trying to, once again, he's really just planning to pester Roy and talk about Rayquaza, but of course he ends up getting lost as he's following them, so they're all really getting lost in this cavern, and eventually they end up getting outside, but it's after this Steelix is triggered. Oluto ends up bugging this Steelix that just goes on a rampage because it is the Pokemon that's dealing with the Laquium, and so the most of the episode is really just Liko and Roy battling this Steelix and trying to get it to calm down. And as they're doing that, it turns out that there is another Steelix. So there are 2 Steelix going on this rampage. And so now Liko and Roy are needing to battle 2 Steelix. And the entire thing is just crazy. It's just the whole thing is just battling these Steelix. And eventually Oluto does come out to help with the battle. And he and Roy end up Mega Evolving Sableye and Lucario to better defeat these Pokemon. And also, Terapagos comes out of its Pokeball to help out. Remember, we hadn't really seen Terapagos since Mega Voltage started, which was just 2 episodes ago, but we hadn't seen Terapagos. So it finally wakes up out of its Pokeball in this episode, and all together they're able to defeat these 2 Steelix. So that was really nice. Overall, the episode, I'd say, like I said, was pretty good. But again, it really was just battling these Steelix for most of the episode. And Oluto, after he even, comes back and reunites with Roy, they still separate, so I guess Oluto isn't going to be this I was thinking he was going to be more like a traveling companion with the other 2, but he kind of just comes and goes, at least for now. I imagine later on he will officially join, like, once they get the Rising Voltacklers actually back together. But for now, he kind of just comes and goes. He seems to really just be here to help show off Mega Evolution when it's time. So that's fine. But yeah, ultimately, that was the main plot of last week's episode. It wasn't really that much, but like I said, it was still enjoyable. Good to still see them showing off Roy's new Lucario, showing off Alto and his Sableye. So all of that was good. And it was good that we got Terapagos waking up, coming back. So again, the plot's still moving on, just piece by piece. So let's now move on to today's episode, which today's episode was interesting because it focused on this girl who is a huge fan of Nidothing. And can I just say how happy I am that they're really reintegrating Nidothing back into the story, because if you guys remember, Nidothing hadn't really been mentioned all too much at the latter half of Rayquaza Rising. They kind of just not really been showing that much Nidothing, which was kind of disappointing to me because that was a big element of Dot's character. So I'm really glad that we're seeing more Nidothing, especially now with Freed being gone and showing off Nidothing at the end of the episodes. I'm really just happy to see that. So this episode focuses on this girl who is basically a super fan of Nidothing. I guess she's like a stan, and she just really loves her and watches all her videos. She's dressed like her. She has Nidothing merch. I didn't even know there was Nidothing merch in the Pokemon world, but I guess there is because this girl has all of it. And so, long story short, this girl allegedly is claiming she hears rumors of Black Rayquaza, and of course Liko and Roy are still looking for Black Rayquaza. And so they end up trying to get the information from her, but she doesn't really want to give the information to them. And then, of course, she finds out that Liko and Roy are Rising Voltacklers, and so she doesn't really trust them because, of course, like I said before, they have this negative reputation. And so she decides that she only wants to battle them in order to give them the information. And so she battles Liko because both of them are Nidothing fans. And the battle is pretty even at first, but either one of them gets the upper hand every so often. First, Liko seems to have the upper hand. Then it seems that Nita, the girl, by the way, they call her Litten Girl because she has these Littens and she's battling with Incineroar. And so Liko has the upper hand for a bit, then she has the upper hand. But ultimately, no winner of the battle is determined because Oto comes out of nowhere. Once again, he just keeps coming out of nowhere. And this time, he is just chased by this horde of Dodrio and Fearow, and it's just crazy. And it's not like he's really even being attacked. These Pokemon are kind of just they're kind of just screaming, being really agitated, but they're not really attacking. So Oto and Litten Girl are like getting ready to battle, but Liko and Roy decide to come out and calm them down the way they best know how, by singing. So I'm really happy also to see that they haven't given up Roy's habit of singing, even though we've had this time skip and their personalities are a bit different, not totally different, but they had some changes here and there. Like Rory is showing a bit more seriousness, but I'm glad that he's still doing his singing. He's not given that element of his personality up, so that's really nice to see. So everyone does end up being calmed down by the singing, by Meowscarada and Captain Pikachu doing tricks and stuff here and there. So overall, it is really just nice to see that they haven't lost who they were before just because their negative reputation is a thing and all this stuff. So anyway, that is pretty much how the episode ends. They calm down the Pokemon, and Litten Girl, she admits that she doesn't really know anything about the Black Rayquaza, but ultimately, they just keep going on their way. And she's happy she got to meet Nidothing over the Rotom phone. So the kids just keep moving on. But like I said, the girl, she changes her mind about the Rising Voltaggler, so that's good. I'm assuming that's going to also be a plot element of Liko and Roy coming across people who have negative reputations about or they believe the negative reputations about the Rising Voltagglers, and they're going to try to teach them that they're not meaning any harm, and they want to clear their names. So overall, the episodes, both of them were pretty good. Neither of them were really too plot heavy on their own, so I'm glad I was able to talk about them together. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. In the next episode, it looks like we're going to finally start reuniting the Rising Voltagglers because we're going to be seeing Molly again. So I'm guessing it's going to be every few episodes we're going to just see a new person and hopefully get them back together with Liko and Roy and just reassemble the crew. So thank you guys so much for watching this double review. I'll try to have the reviews be more regular again, but if there are instances where I don't know if an episode can hold a review on its own, then I might just wait to make a double review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thank you!